Ever feel like you're just drowning in to-dos? Like, seriously, my task list, it just grows faster than I can even check things off.
Oh, yeah. I hear ya.
But what if AI could, like, change all that? I mean, what if it could?
Yeah, that'd be something.
Today, we're diving into this report from the Brookings Institution.
Okay.
Machines of Mind. The case for an AI-powered productivity boom.
Interesting.
To explore that very possibility.
Right.
So the report paints a pretty optimistic picture, right? Of a future where AI, especially these large language models, could like supercharge our productivity.
Yeah.
But is this just hype?
Right.
Or is this like a real revolution in the making?
A big question.
Well, right off the bat, the report hits you with this story
Okay.
about an economist who used ChatGPT
Oh, wow.
to finish like an entire week's worth of work in just one morning.
Okay, now that's impressive.
I know, right? So that sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, is
Yeah.
this just like an anecdote, or are there real signs that AI is already boosting productivity in such a dramatic way?
Well, it's fascinating because this isn't just an isolated incident, you know?
Really?
Early studies are already showing significant productivity gains from AI
Okay.
in tasks like software coding writing, even call center work. In fact, one study found that call center workers who were using AI had a 14% boost in productivity.
Nice, 2%.
And get this,
Okay.
the biggest gains were actually seen in the least experienced workers.
Oh, wow.
It's like AI is leveling the playing field in a way.
That's pretty impressive, but I've got to be honest.
Okay.
I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah, I get that.
Haven't we heard all this before?
Right.
I mean, AI has been overhyped in the past.
Yeah.
So what makes this time different?
Yeah.
Why should we believe that this wave of AI is really going to revolutionize work when previous breakthroughs didn't quite live up to the hype?
Well, you're right to be cautious. You know, there have been plenty of quote-unquote AI revolutions that kind of fizzled out.
Right.
But what sets this generation of AI apart,
Okay.
particularly these large language models, is their ability to handle cognitive tasks, not just routine automation.
Okay.
They can understand and generate human language,
Okay.
write different kinds of creative content, even code.
Oh, wow.
It's not just about, like, speeding up repetitive tasks anymore.
Right.
AI is starting to do things that we previously thought only humans could do.
I see.
So it's a whole different ballgame.
And the report emphasizes that this new AI is also incredibly accessible.
Right.
I mean, we've all seen how quickly ChatGPT has been adopted.
Yeah, it's exploding.
It's not just something that's happening like in research labs or big tech companies. It's already impacting everyday people.
Yeah, I mean, I use it all the time.
Now, the report lays out kind of two main channels
Okay.
for how AI could drive economic growth.
All right.
So the first is what they call the level effect,
Level effect.
which is like the direct boost to output as workers become more efficient. But there's another effect, the growth effect,
Growth effect.
which argues that AI can actually speed up innovation
Interesting.
by helping us discover and implement new ideas faster.
Okay.
So can you break that down for us a little bit?
Sure.
How does AI actually lead to faster innovation?
Well, think of it this way.
Yeah.
AI isn't just helping us do the same things faster.
Right.
It's freeing up our mental capacity to focus on higher level thinking, you know, more complex problem solving, even more creative work.
Okay.
And the report has this compelling visual figure too that shows how even like a small increase in the rate of innovation when it's compounded over time leads to massive long-term gains.
Right.
That's where the true power of AI lies.
Yeah.
It's not just about one-time efficiency boosts.
Right.
It's about fundamentally changing our capacity to innovate and progress as a society.
That makes a lot of sense.
Good.
But it also raises a question.
Okay, what's that?
If a lot of AI's impact is on this like higher level cognitive work, how do we even measure that?
That's the tricky part.
Right.
Yeah.
So much of that work is hard to quantify.
Exactly.
Could we be experiencing like silent productivity growth that our traditional economic measures are just missing?
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Okay, good.
Our traditional productivity metrics, they really struggle to capture the output of knowledge work. Things like, you know, strategy, creative problem-solving writing.
Yeah.
These are all notoriously difficult to quantify.
So you're saying the real impact of AI could be even bigger?
I think so.
Than what the official statistics are showing.
Potentially, yeah.
Because we're not capturing these harder to measure gains.
Exactly. We might be underestimating the scale of the AI revolution that's already happening.
Okay, so let's get to the question that's probably on everyone's mind.
Okay, shoot.
What does all this mean for jobs?
Right, the big one.
Will AI make a lot of jobs obsolete?
Yeah.
That story about the economist finishing a week's worth of work in a morning?
Oh, yeah.
It makes you wonder, what happens to everyone else?
Well, it's understandable that people are concerned.
Yeah.
The report acknowledges that AI is likely to cause significant disruption in the job market.
Okay.
In fact, it suggests that up to 49% of workers could eventually see like half or more of their tasks being performed by AI.
That's a pretty sobering statistic.
It is.
It sounds like we could be facing some pretty major changes.
Absolutely.
Whoa.
But it's important to remember that AI doesn't have to be a job killer.
Okay.
It can also be a powerful tool for enhancing human capabilities, not just replacing them.
Okay.
Remember those call center workers we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
AI helped them perform better, and it actually led to higher customer satisfaction as well.
Oh, interesting.
So it's about finding the right ways for humans and AI to work together effectively.
I see. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But even if AI does create new opportunities, what about the potential for inequality? Will the benefits of this, like, AI-powered productivity boom be widely shared, or will it just end up making existing inequalities even worse?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
And the truth is, there's a lot of uncertainty about how AI will impact income distribution.
So it could go either way.
It really could.
It could help close the gap, or it could make it even wider.
Exactly. On the one hand, AI could be incredibly empowering for lower-skilled workers, giving them access to tools and capabilities that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Right.
But on the other hand, if we're not careful, AI could also lead to even greater concentration of wealth and power in the hands of those who control the technology.
That's a scary thought.
It is something to be mindful of, for sure.
Okay.
And this brings us to a truly mind-boggling question that the report raises.
What is it?
What happens when AI becomes so good that human labor is no longer a scarce resource?
Whoa, that's a big one.
Right.
What would that even look like?
That's what we're going to explore next.
Right.
This is where things get really interesting.
I'm ready for it.
So imagine a world, right, where AI can handle like most of the tasks that currently occupy our time.
Okay.
A world where work as we know it becomes like almost obsolete.
Yeah.
It's a mind-bending concept.
It is.
And it raises some profound questions about like the future of humanity's role in a world that's increasingly shaped by artificial intelligence.
It's almost like we're facing this philosophical crisis.
Totally.
Alongside this like technological revolution.
Precisely. And that's what makes this whole conversation so fascinating. We're not just talking about like economic forecasts or efficiency gains. We're delving into the very essence of what it means to be human in an era of intelligent machines.
So how do we even begin to address these like massive questions?
Well,
the report mentions some potential policy solutions, right?
It does.
But are those solutions even enough to like deal with this kind of fundamental shift?
Well, the report emphasizes that we need to start thinking proactively.
Okay.
Not just about mitigating the negative consequences of AI, but also about harnessing its potential, you know, to create a more equitable and prosperous society for everyone. And yes, they do delve into some specific policy ideas.
Okay. So what are some of the solutions they propose?
All right.
What kind of policies could help us navigate this transition to an AI-powered world?
Well, one key area they focus on is education and skills development.
Okay.
They argue that we need to equip workers with the skills they'll need to thrive in an AI-augmented workforce.
Okay.
Think critical thinking, complex problem-solving, creativity. The skills that are going to be even more valuable in a world where AI can handle many of the routine tasks.
So instead of just fearing AI as like a job killer, we should be thinking about how it's going to change the nature of work itself.
Exactly.
And focus on preparing people for the new opportunities and roles that AI will create.
Exactly. It's about adapting and evolving alongside the technology.
I like that.
The report also stresses the importance of investing in research and development, not just to push the boundaries of AI capabilities, but also to ensure that development happens responsibly and ethically. This includes areas like explainable AI, where we focus on understanding how these systems make decisions. And AI safety, to prevent any unintended consequences that could arise from increasingly sophisticated AI.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We need to be able to trust these systems.
For sure.
If we're going to integrate them into our lives so deeply.
Absolutely.
But let's be realistic. A lot of people are going to be worried about their jobs, their livelihood.
Right, of course.
What about the economic side of things?
Yeah.
How do we make sure that the benefits of AI are shared fairly?
Right.
That it doesn't just create like a bigger gap between the haves and the have-nots.
Well, the report explores some pretty interesting policy options, including things like strengthening social safety nets to provide a cushion for workers who might be displaced by AI. They even discuss ideas like a universal basic income.
A universal basic income.
Which would provide everyone with a guaranteed minimum level of income.
Wow.
Regardless of their employment status.
That's a pretty radical idea.
It is.
It sounds like we might need to rethink some pretty fundamental assumptions about our economic system.
Potentially, yeah.
If we're going to adapt to this AI-powered future. But wouldn't that be incredibly expensive to implement?
It certainly would require a significant shift in how we think about economic policy. But the report argues that it's worth considering. Especially if AI leads to a future where traditional jobs become less available. They also talk about ideas like data dividends. Where individuals are compensated for the data they generate. That helps train AI systems.
Oh, that's interesting.
After all, it's our data that's fueling this AI revolution.
So we'd be getting paid for our data.
That's the idea.
I could see how that could help address the issue of wealth distribution. Especially as AI becomes more reliant on these vast amounts of data.
Exactly.
But with all these potential solutions. And big changes. What role should governments play in all of this?
That's a great question.
Should they be actively shaping the development and deployment of AI? Or should they take like a more hands-off approach? What's the best way to ensure that we're steering this technology in the right direction?
That's a debate that's raging right now.
It is.
And there are strong arguments on both sides. Some argue that government intervention is absolutely crucial to prevent AI from being used for harmful purposes. And to ensure that its benefits are distributed fairly.
I see.
Others advocate for a more market-driven approach. Arguing that innovation thrives when it's not burdened by excessive regulation.
It seems like finding the right balance is going to be key.
It is. It's a tough one.
Too much regulation could stifle innovation. But too little could lead to unintended consequences.
Yeah.
And even social unrest.
Absolutely.
It's a tough needle to thread.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that this isn't just a national issue. AI development is happening all over the world.
Of course.
So international cooperation is going to be crucial in navigating these challenges effectively. And setting global standards for responsible AI development.
So we're not just talking about national policies, but about global governance of AI.
Exactly.
That adds a whole other layer of complexity to the situation.
It certainly does. But it also highlights the interconnectedness of this issue. AI has the potential to reshape our world in profound ways. And the choices we make now, collectively, as a global community, will determine what that future looks like.
It's a huge responsibility.
It is.
There's one that we all share.
For sure.
You know, I'm starting to realize that this isn't just a technological revolution. It's a societal one.
It is.
It's about our values, our ethics, and the kind of future we want to create for ourselves and for generations to come.
You're absolutely right. This goes far beyond algorithms and data. It's about people, our relationships with technology, and the kind of world we want to live in. And that's why it's so important to have these conversations. To explore the potential benefits and risks of AI from multiple perspectives. And to engage with these complex issues in a thoughtful and informed way.
So with all this in mind, what can like the average person do?
It
feels overwhelming at times.
I get that.
Like these massive technological forces are at play. that are beyond our control.
Right.
How can we as individuals make a difference?
It's easy to feel powerless in the face of such rapid technological change.
It really is.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
We're not passive bystanders.
Okay.
Our choices matter.
Okay.
The decisions we make as consumers, as voters, as citizens,
Yeah.
they all contribute to shaping the direction of AI development.
So you're saying we have a responsibility to educate ourselves about AI.
Absolutely.
To engage in these conversations.
Yes.
To hold the companies and governments developing this technology accountable for ethical and responsible development.
Exactly.
That we can all play a role in shaping this future.
Exactly. And we need to be having these conversations now, while the technology is still relatively young.
Right.
And its trajectory is not yet set in stone. The choices we make today will have a ripple effect, shaping the AI-powered world of tomorrow.
It's almost like we're standing at a fork in the road.
It is.
One path leads to a future where AI exacerbates inequality and social unrest, while the other leads to a future where AI empowers humanity and helps us solve some of our biggest challenges.
Exactly.
It feels like a pivotal moment.
That's a powerful way to put it. It is a pivotal moment. And ultimately, the path we take is up to us, collectively.
Right.
Our actions, our choices, our voices, they all matter.
This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about.
Good.
I'm starting to see AI not just as a tool, but as a force that's going to fundamentally reshape the very fabric of our society.
That's a profound insight. And that shift in thinking is essential as we navigate this new era. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about how we choose to use it, the values we embed in it, and the future we create with it.
All right. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From the potential economic impacts of AI to the philosophical questions it raises.
Right.
About the future of work and humanity's role.
Yeah.
In a technologically advanced world.
It's a lot to unpack.
And we've even touched on some pretty radical policy ideas.
We have.
That might be necessary to navigate this transition.
Yeah, for sure.
But before we wrap things up,
I
want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier.
Right.
The idea of silent productivity growth.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like that concept has some pretty big implications.
It does.
For how we understand and measure the impact of AI.
For sure.
It's a crucial piece of the puzzle.
It really is.
All right, so we're back and ready to unpack this whole idea of silent productivity growth.
Okay.
It really is a bit of a mystery, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of is.
Like this massive wave of progress is happening, but we don't even have like the tools to fully grasp it.
It's like trying to measure the impact of the internet back in the early 90s. Oh, interesting.
We knew something big was happening.
Right.
But the traditional economic indicators weren't really capturing the full extent of the transformation.
So what are the specific challenges we face
What?
when we're trying to measure the impact of AI, especially when it comes to this like silent growth that might be happening under the radar?
One of the biggest hurdles is that our current economic indicators, they're still kind of stuck in the pre-AI world.
I see.
They were designed to measure things like factory output or the number of widgets produced.
Right.
You know, they're good at quantifying physical goods.
Yeah.
But when it comes to measuring the output of knowledge work, things get a lot more complicated.
So how do you measure the productivity of someone?
Yeah, it's tough.
Who's using AI to write code or design marketing campaigns.
Exactly.
Or even like come up with new business strategies.
Right.
It's not like you can just count the lines of code or the number of ideas generated.
Yeah.
It's not that simple anymore.
Right.
The quality of the output matters as much as the quantity. And AI is changing the very nature of these tasks.
Yeah.
Making them faster, more efficient, and potentially more creative.
Okay.
But how do you capture all of that in a simple statistic?
It sounds like we need a whole new set of metrics.
We probably do.
To track the real impact of AI on the economy.
I think so.
Metrics that go beyond just measuring quantity and start to capture things like creativity.
Right.
Problem solving, the speed of learning.
Yeah.
Even the ability to connect like seemingly disparate ideas.
I think you're spot on.
Okay, good.
We need to start thinking about how to measure not just what we produce, but how we produce it.
Right.
And the value that AI brings to that process. It's a fundamental shift in how we view productivity.
So if we're underestimating the impact of AI,
right,
because of these like measurement challenges,
does
that change how we should approach things like policy and regulation?
Absolutely. If AI is driving more economic growth than we realize, we might need to rethink our approach to wealth distribution and social safety nets. Policies like universal basic income or data dividends might start to look a lot more appealing in a world where AI is rapidly boosting productivity, even if those gains are hard to measure.
And it also highlights the need for more research and analysis.
For sure.
We can't just assume that our old ways of measuring economic progress will accurately capture the impact of this incredibly transformative technology.
Yeah, we have to adapt.
We need to keep asking questions.
Absolutely.
Challenging our assumptions. And developing new methods to track the real impact of AI.
That's a critical point. We're in uncharted territory here.
We are.
We need to be constantly reassessing our understanding of how AI is changing the world and adapting our policies and strategies accordingly. This isn't a one-time fix. It's an ongoing process of learning and adaptation.
This whole idea of silent productivity growth has really opened my eyes.
Good, I'm glad.
It's not just an academic curiosity. It has profound implications for how we navigate the AI revolution.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that we're still just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Yeah, who knows what the future holds?
And that the real impact of AI could be far greater.
It probably is.
Than we currently imagine.
And that's what makes this such an exciting and challenging time to be alive.
It really is.
We're witnessing a technological revolution that has the potential to reshape the very foundations of our society and our economy.
It's pretty incredible.
It is. It's up to us to ensure that we harness that potential for good while mitigating the risks and challenges that inevitably come with such transformative change.
Well, this deep dive has certainly given me a lot to think about.
I hope so.
We've explored the incredible potential of AI to boost productivity and drive economic growth. But we've also delved into the very real concerns about job displacement, income inequality.
Of course.
And the need for responsible AI development.
For sure.
It's clear that this isn't just a technology story.
No, it's not.
It's a human story.
It is.
A story about our values, our choices, and the kind of future we want to create.
And as we've discussed, this is a story that's still being written.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The choices we make today, individually and collectively, will determine the direction of the AI revolution. And ultimately the kind of world we leave for future generations. It's a responsibility we all share.
To our listeners, we leave you with this final thought. The future is uncertain, but AI is here to stay.
It is.
The question is, how will we shape that future?
Right. The big question.
Will we use AI to build a more equitable, prosperous, and fulfilling world for all? Or will we allow it to exacerbate existing inequalities and create new challenges?
It's up to us.
The answer lies in the choices we make today, the conversations we have, and the actions we take.
Absolutely.
This deep dive is just the beginning.
It is.
We encourage you to continue exploring this topic, asking questions, challenging assumptions, and engaging in the critical dialogue that will shape our AI-powered world.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks for joining us.